pulsating game that went right down to the wire. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. This was a very entertaining game of rugby, going backwards and forth between the teams. You know, you think Scarlets are on top, and then Ulster coming back, and then Scarlets hit back again, and just really like the kind of rugby game that I really enjoy. You know, where it's back and forth. I don't really care. You know, I've said it loads of times. I don't care about how many tries there are in a game. I care about how competitive the two teams are against each other. And for me, that's an exciting game. You know, if it's kind of going backwards and forwards between the teams, and one team on top, you think they're going to do it, and then the other team come back, and then it keeps, you know, seesawing between them. And that's what we had in this one. Really entertaining, and some great displays on both sides as well. So Scarlets, they strike first. Gareth Davis, clever little kick over the top at the ruck, round about, you know, halfway. Max Page had called it. You know, he knows Ulster aren't sweeping behind there. He gets to the ball first, has the pace then to finish under the post, converted for 7 points to nil. Really clever play from, you know, Page and the Scarlets there. Ulster then win a penalty after good work on the high ball from Jacob Stockdale, but messed up the line out and the chance is gone. Already you're kind of wondering if Ulster are going to shoot themselves in the foot again, like they've done so many times over the last few seasons. Scarlets, they strike again to go wide from the scrum. Page goes outside of Stockdale, then passes back inside for Nicholas. He's got a nice run in there. Conversion missed. It's 12 points to nil. Scarlets then go up the line from penalty, looking to really turn the screw, but Ulster disrupt their maul and then force a knock on. Good maul defence there from Ulster. MacLeod then gets charged down as he looked to box kick. Luckily though, for him, Scarlets were offside, so Ulster then go up the line from their penalty. Scarlets able to dislodge the ball in the tackle as Ulster were looking to move it across the 22. Decent defence there from them. Ulster then going through phases on the edge of the 22, finding it hard though to get over the gain line, but they do win a penalty, allows them to kick to the corner. And then, you know, one thing, like for all Ulster's issues in recent years, the maul has been, you know, one decent part of the game. Although honestly, over the last kind of few rounds of this competition, hasn't been the case, and in Europe as well. But this one, well executed. They drive it over, and Timney scores. Jack Murphy then converts from out wide, 12 points to 7. Ulster then, with a bit of front foot, and Scarlets are offside. Jack Murphy slots the pen for 12-10. Scarlets, you know, dominant in the scrum. They win a penalty on halfway. It's kind of out wide left. Yoan Lloyd goes up the line. Ulster defend them all well and then force a knock on at the breakdown. Then we have a high tackle on Lowry in midfield. You know, after some great work as well from Matthew Dalton out wide to turn the ball over. Jack Murphy's kicked from the tee. It's low, scrapes over from around about halfway, 13 points to 12. Ulster in the lead. Clock in the red. Ulster, you're thinking, just kick the ball off the field, but they don't. They decide to keep it on the field. That leads to Dalton being offside from the kick. Penalty to Scarlets. Lloyd puts it over from out wide and some distance out as well. You know, round about kind of the 10 metre line, but more than 40 metres certainly on the angle. He makes a 15-13 Scarlets lead at half time. Ulster then applying pressure at the start of the second half. Looking better with ball in hand, they force a penalty and Jack Murphy puts them back in front, 16 points to 15. Ulster then, you know, tackling off the ball, and Lloyd pops it over, 18-16. Lead changes hands yet again. Jack Murphy snipes on the blind side, on the back of, you know, a real barnstorming carry from McCluskey. He had real impact off the bench, or yeah, I think he came off the bench, right? There's then a forward pass. No, it's Postlethwaite definitely come off the bench. There's a forward pass, but Ulster certainly looking more dangerous. We then have a Timo review for a high hit by Page on Jacob Stockdale. It's just an absorbing tackle, penalty, and Ulster go up the line. You can't really argue with that decision there. As I said, in the play, like, you could have even argued that it was just a kind of a rugby incident that maybe we could have just played on. Ulster go to the maul, then Hume goes close as they move it. They then pick and go, camped on the line. They go wide, but then they get driven back, so we come back for a penalty for a dangerous tackle. Before the penalty is taken, we have a team mode check for possible try. No conclusive angle, so can't really argue again. No try. That's fair. Ulster tap and go for the line. Timney gets over, but he's held up. Back for a penalty. Scarlets on a warning. Scarlets then repulse 2 strong drives, but then Callum Reid gets over to score. That's converted 23 points to 18. Ulster then applying pressure on the edge of 22. Ball goes to ground. Dalton, trying to keep it alive, just flicks it up, but he flicks it up to a Scarlets player, and he offloads to Fafita, who just goes all the way under the post to score. And, great breakaway try from them, converted for 25 points to 23. Scarlets then managed to work it into the 22. Decent scramble defence from Ulster. On the outside, that stops a try, but Scarlets, they've got a scrum in the shadow of the post. Scarlets then move it from the scrum, but it's hesitant from Lloyd, and some decent defence as well from Ulster, but Ulster are offside, so it's a penalty. Scarlets then, they tap it, they're pounding away at that line. Looks like, the game-winning try is coming, but Dave McCann managed to turn it over. McNabney kicks it clear, but we're still, in around that Ulster 22. Excuse me. Scarlets then looking to attack off that line out. They're going nowhere, but Ulster give away a silly penalty. Lloyd makes it 28 points to 23. Not much time left on the clock. Ulster really need to score next. They get a penalty, kick it up the line into 22. It's do or die now. Ulster go to the maul. Scarlets stop it initially. Excuse me. Another brief stop. They're told, they've got to use it, but then straight away the maul surges forward. Lousy has his hands on the ball. It stops a metre or two from the line. Scarlets win the turnover, and thinking Ulster are blown, a great chance there. Scarlets then kick it clear, but back come Ulster. A couple of good carries from Stockdale in there. You got the likes of O'Toole, Timney as well, carrying well, and then from here, Timney, he goes close twice. Still Ulster picking and going, and then finally Alan O'Connor drives over to score. Doak converts for 30 points to 28. Ulster now have 90 seconds to see out for the win, but they show really good composure, to hang on to the ball and then get it off once it goes into the red. Full time, 30 points to 28. Okay, let's have a look at the stats and then we talk about the teams. So let me pull them up here. So on attack, tries, 3 tries each. Neither team really all that concerned with going for bonus point try out like that. It was all about getting the win. And after Scarlets got their 3rd try anyway, they'd no real chance to go for 4th. And Ulster, they got their 3rd right to death. Possession then 54 to 46 in Ulster's favour. Clean breaks, look at that, only 1 for Ulster and 10 for Scarlets. Scarlets, the ones picking those holes, and Ulster's defence looked really porous once Scarlets broke the line, and you can kind of see it here as well. Defenders beaten 21 for Ulster and 11 for Scarlets, but 11 defenders beaten and 10 clean breaks just tells you every time they beat someone, there was nothing there to stop them going any further. Whereas Ulster, 21 defenders beaten and still only 1 clean break. That is a terrible conversion rate on that, and it just shows kind of their hesitancy, the lack of support lines as well for the ball carrier at times, especially in that first half. Certainly a lot better in the second half, but it was a lot kind of tight carries. Not necessarily looking for support, more looking to recycle and go again, but it did work out for them in the end. Offloads then 3 for Ulster and 8 for Scarlets. Again, kind of backing up the fact that Ulster keeping it tight. Scarlets looking to move the ball, looking to, get away from that breakdown, more than Ulster were. Onto defence end territory, 53% to 47. So Ulster just about edging that. Number of tackles, 136 to 114, and missed tackles, 12 to 21. Ulster at 87 is kind of at the top of that, average band that you see for the URC, 85 to 87%. Scarlets down at 81%. But you have to say they scrambled well. Ulster beating 21 defenders, but they snuffed out all but one of them, in terms of clean breaks. Turnovers 1 then, 2 for Ulster, 5 for Scarlets. Scarlets winning some really important turnovers, at crucial times, especially in the first half when Ulster were trying to, get back into the game. And then, in the lead up as well to some of Ulster scores too. They could have come earlier, only for some brilliant Scarlets defence and turnovers. Kicking then, 2 kicks retained each. There was kind of interesting kicking duel, especially in the first half. Scarlets used the kicking game very well. Second half, they didn't, it didn't work out as well for them. I thought Ulster competed better in the air in that second half. Then penalties conceded, just 6 for Ulster. And when you think how much they were struggling in the scrum, that's really good for them. And then 10 for Scarlets. Scarlets, as I said, they were on a warning at one point, but Ulster did get over the scores, and generally that kind of wipes the slate clean for that kind of stuff. On to then successful carries. Nick Timney with 6, such an important carrier for Ulster. Johnny Williams, midfield for Scarlets, 11 carries for him. That is brilliant. And again, just showing how much better they were in terms of breaking the line. Clean breaks then, Matt Dalton with 1 for Ulster. That was one where he made it, out on the wing, I think. Max Page then, with 2 for Scarlets, including, one was a try. Defenders beaten then, James McNabney with 6, and Max Page with 6 as well. Meters made, Jacob Stockdale 36, and Johan Nicholas with 81 for Scarlets. Another decent performance from him. Then offloads, Mike Lowry with 1, and then Johnny Williams with 3. Lowry, he's busy, but he doesn't seem to have that ability anymore to kind of break the line. Always, a willing worker there though. And obviously, he was getting smashed in the tackle. It's a bit of a problem for Ulster, but he is pretty elusive. But you still feel that Ulster attack, given the talent that they have in the back line, really isn't, where it should be. And that's definitely something they're going to have to work on. Number of tackles then, James McNabney with 17, massive shift from him. And then Jared Taylor, 13 for Scarlets. Yeah, and again, it's a close game, and there were some fantastic performance, on either side of that scoreline as well. Okay, so let's talk about the team. So Scarlets started really well, with those couple of tries. Didn't build on that though, as they allowed kind of Ulster to get a foothold back in the game. Got themselves ahead again from the intercept, but they couldn't keep Ulster out at the end there. They were on top of the scrum, defended well, but just, too much pressure at the end when Ulster got over for that final try. This would have been a great win to leave them in, I think, a very strong position. They've had a knack kind of in the middle part of the season so far, of winning tight games. And, that's something they're going to have to rediscover, I think, for the run-in if they are going to make, those playoffs. And then beyond that, be a threat in the knockout stages as well. Ulster, had a disastrous start, and they've been so poor this season in so many games. One thing you have to give them credit for in this one is heads never went down. We've seen it in too many games this year when, a little bit of adversity for Ulster, like that 12-0, deficit right to start. Heads could have gone down, and it could have been like just an absolute, cakewalk for Scarlets, but they actually dug in for once, and that's good to see, morale coming back in the squad. They struggled in the scrum, but that was only before they replaced the front row. I thought they went well once the likes, of O'Toole and stuff come on. Lots of silly errors made it, very difficult for themselves. Then second half, much more composed. took their chances when they came at the end as well, which is brilliant. They were in danger as well of dropping away, from that chasing pack and basically getting hunted down by the likes of Zebre. But now they're right back in the mix, but they need to find some consistency if they're going to climb, the table and actually get themselves into those playoff spots. But, I have two very competitive teams in this one, and it's kind of a microcosm of the league, I think, at the moment. Is there are so many competitive sides now that, little tiny margins can be the difference between, winning and defeat, but also, playoffs and somewhere like 14th, 15th in the table. It's that close. It's great to see, it's why I think the URC has built itself such a great reputation. We have to remember as well that, because sometimes they're maligned, but it's also built on the fact that the South African teams have come in and they've made it so that it's more competitive, and it means that everyone has to step up their game. There are very few now easy fixtures in this one. Sometimes there are easy wins, but that's kind of hindsight being 2020 for that, and a lot of those are kind of come out of the blue as well. We're expecting a tight game, and one team just aren't up for whatever reason. But generally, you're looking at games now, and it's pretty hard to pick who's going to win. And you can see from this, coming within a couple of points, Scarlets easily could have won that game. So good performance from both of them, but we've got 6 games left in the league now. From here on out, it's not about performances anymore. It's about getting results, and if you play terrible and you get a result, nobody's going to care if you're the one in the playoffs at the end of the season. But that's it for me. Let me know what you think down in the comments.